Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here at selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Now, if you have been following me for any years, you know that these people that I have on here have been on before. Deborah, I think, I don't know, ninth show, probably very easily there. And Ocean, you were one of the first, your first podcast, I think, was with me. And we are looking at such an amazing amount of work that you have both done in this one year. You know, we say that go behind the scenes of entrepreneurship, as Deb and Ocean open up about their realities of building a family business from the ground up, the triumphs, the late night problem solving, and the relentless belief that keeps them moving forward. Discover how they've learned to balance being partners in life and partners in enterprise, navigating challenges with creativity, communication, deep commitment, and their shared purpose. It's a candid look at truly what makes our business grow with the people you love, the harmony, the contradictions, the beautiful evolution that happens along the way. And they're happy to share being everything entrepreneurial that might support others on their own journey. They're taking stock of the year, acknowledging the wins, honoring the lessons, and using both to shape the 2026 agenda with clarity and optimism. And, you know, for people that don't know, this is mum and son. And, you know, son is a wonderful artist who has gone into clothing and taken his art into that clothing. And going from where you were when we first started out with our interview, I think, which was last year, to where you are now, my God, you haven't got just one set of wings, you've got triple wings going out there. You are really taking flight. And, you know, as I've said before in other shows, you're very lucky to have such an entrepreneurial mum who's a bona fide entrepreneur and has been for so many years. And also the conductor behind the Mission Accepted book, 262 women who have contributed to the book on things that they wanted to share that empower other women. That now has been to the Grammys, the Oscars. Where else has it been, Deb? Because it's been everywhere.
Yes, the Emmys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, like that's so inspiring because people there have kind of looked at that book and been inspired by that book. And this is really what it's all about. Inspiration begets invitation. But a lot of people, when they're inspired and they really are invited to kind of either read the book or you look at your art, buy your clothing, you know, it's that inspiration and that invitation is there, but people don't really know how much work goes behind the scenes to get there. And there's a lot of due diligence, hard work, pivoting, seizing an opportunity, and knowing also when to say no. So welcome back to the shows, both of you. It's wonderful to have you here again. And let's just find out. 2026, as I said, a few wings have been flapping here. You've really taken flight. So, Deb, is this what you expected?
Oh my goodness, that's such a big question. And out of your introduction conversation, the word that I loved the most was optimism.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, that is such a mind state that is important on all counts. For me, in relationship to our project here at Mission Accepted and the media platforms that we've created, I have to say, was it what I expected? I think because I have a few years behind me, I'm used to maybe a little twists and turns. I think that when you quest for something that's really big and international, I don't know if you can foresee some of the things that happen because the world can change your decisions,
Yes.
right? The world can change your decisions, your plans. I mean, me and Ocean just finished doing his plans for 2026 and we'll be presenting it to his team and then mine as well. And then there's that piece of unforeseen that you hope falls in your favor, right? But that's not always the case. And we've experienced that in the world in the last chunk of years of things that we've had to shift around. One of the things that I wanted dearly That was a year later than I wanted originally. How about that? Went from wanted originally to wanted dearly was that the television came into play this year.
Yes, yes.
And that's been a really big learning curve because predominantly we're working with, women that are self-funded
Hmm.
or those that support women, and their first nature wasn't TV. So the learning curve right now that women are going through and putting their first production together, that's been an interesting process, right? That's
Hmm.
been an interesting process. And there's nothing around that learning curve that you can do other than be in
Hmm.
states of I don't know and uncomfortable. So I'm moving women into a lot of states of I don't know and uncomfortable, and keeping their angst down and their optimism high, as you would
Yeah.
call it. And I'm spending a lot of time doing that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what 2026 because all of that's going to come into play. So I think we've been a year of, let's lay this groundwork, see how it works, see the roses, see the plants that need redoing, that are
Hmm.
seasonal.
Pick the
Um,
weeds.
yeah, and continue to go. And
Yeah.
then, we've got Ocean's Company, which is in a different sector, but I really believe there's some entrepreneurial foundations
Hmm.
that are critical, like mindset, like going all in, like knowing when to retreat, like you said, knowing when to say yes, when to say no, and some of those learning curves that you don't know,
Not until they're there in front of you.
yeah.
But it's preparation, right? It's like if you go at it with the enthusiasm. What is the intention behind it? Is it
Mm-hmm.
heartfelt? Because if
Mm-hmm.
people feel it from the heart, then they're far more engaged. Is it a desire to share something that's going to be an illumination or an inspiration for someone else? And then you kind of plan. The thing is, I think a kind of analogy. You can learn the dance technically,
Mm-hmm.
but where you are with whom you're dancing and what the music is playing at the time is going to show the emotion that comes from the dance, right? And that's where the pivoting comes in. That's where seizing the moment comes in, where you've, suddenly been given an opportunity and you seize it, and the emotion of the passion and the commitment comes into it. And that's where you see the difference between a technical dance and then somebody who is all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as someone who's leading women in that process, here's the thing, our show, of course, is called Stand Up, Speak Up, Show Up, Yes
Mhm,
You. You've been on many, many times sharing
mhm,
your words of wisdom. When you make a claim like that, sometimes you forget, oh, I'm going to name it this, which
mhm,
means that as women are standing up, speaking up, and showing up, I'm getting that calling over here. So I feel like I'm in a constant pioneering mood. So I
mhm.
said it. So guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be in my own process of standing up, speaking up, and showing up, putting the cart before the horse, taking financial risks, spending times on things that you don't know, and then and then everyone's doing that together. So it's quite interesting. It's quite
Mhm.
interesting. We've gone from a team of 4 to a team of 12, Sarah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're putting like a whole performance together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's right. We're
where you can
choreographed.
exactly, and it's featuring each individual artist as
Mm-hmm.
they come. But if you don't have the structure of the performance, you can't highlight the performer that's coming in, the guest that is coming in, and so there has to be an awful lot of foundational preparation. But then, as you said, a lot of pivoting and adjusting or incorporating or deleting. And very much of that happens very much in the moment sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But
And of
we're
course,
thrilled. Overall, I couldn't have, you know, you can paint it, you can put it on a
mm,
treasure map, you can think it, you can feel it, but I mean, we're absolutely thrilled with
yeah.
with
Well, I
the
mean, it's the
results.
support. I mean, you're a woman who supports other women. I mean, the book itself is all about that, but that's also your life's work. But
Mm-hmm.
in turn, you have got women who are completely dedicated to the cause as well, and don't just see it as an opportunity, but want to be part of the movement. And
Mm-hmm.
so, while you've inspired them, you've also invited them to become a part of it in the building blocks of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And made some incredible friends along the way,
Hmm.
right? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like when I don't hear from someone or see someone, I'm like, oh, how are they doing? I like,
Hmm.
why haven't I seen them? Right?
Yeah. Withdrawal problems.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, it's very easy to get caught up in the hype, going to the Grammys, Emmys, and all of this type of thing, meeting people, even the inspiration of the people around you. There's an
Hmm.
illumination, an
Hmm.
almost etheric moment, but it's taking that moment. how do you harness it in a way that now it has a rhythm and a flow to it, and it doesn't
Hmm.
just become a high and a low?
Yeah. Well, I think Irene Hogan, whom you know, she's part of the program and she's a specialist in menopause and what have you.
Hmm.
She came to the Oscars with us actually, and she's like, I'm going to do my own table. I'm like, yeah, you are. So, we were there and some of the women grabbed their own tables and we just, I mean, oh my gosh, it was a 262 show.
Mm,
And she called me about 3 weeks later and she's like, I can't explain it. I go, right?
hmm.
She
Hmm.
goes, once you've been to the Oscars, you've never not been. And
Right.
there's
Yeah.
something that happens
Hmm.
that you see possibility that used to be over here, but becomes actuality. And it does change your perspective.
Hmm.
And things like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in a room with, and these people are like loving and caring and
Mm.
they're excited. And
Ordinary
so,
people.
yeah, 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 absolutely. But they too have had to
Yes.
work for their craft. And I
Yes.
think there's a mutual respect,
Hmm.
whether you're on the screen, whether you have pages in a book, whether you speak, whether you do Reiki, whether you do like it doesn't really matter. Craft respects craft.
Mm.
And it was one
Hmm.
of the most egoless
Wonderful.
experiences that everyone's had. And I was like, including myself, even to conferences, and it's kind
Yeah.
of, and there it's like same, same, like same, same. And I think even Ocean experienced that because of course, he took his company there twice.
Hmm.
And you have nerves before it for the first time. And by the second time he went back and it was like a microphone in his face, he was sailing because you realize they want to be there and you want them to be there. And there's just a respect of walking up to the table. There's no hierarchy. It's
Right.
really
It's
cool.
I see you.
Yeah.
Right. And let's communicate on a lovely even
Hmm.
vibration.
Hmm.
Because I really kind of think that what we're looking at in society right now is people sick and tired of ego. They're
Hmm.
sick and tired of self-importance. Now, there's an importance of self, which is self-care and
Hmm.
self-watering and self-nurturing and allowing yourself to grow. But self-importance, that delusional that you are more than what you are, and that's what you're riding on, and no substance underneath. People are so over that now. They want authenticity. They want people to come from the heart. They want to feel that what you're doing, you really have good intentions behind. And I think that's where we're going now. And of course, your platform is very much promoting the people that are
Hmm.
on that level. If I have success, it's everyone's success,
Hmm.
right? And the celebration of everyone's the village, and this we really need to get back to that village mentality, which is really important.
Absolutely.
So Ocean, did you expect this year to be so transcending as it has been? I mean, mum was behind your clothing and your artistry, and I was at one of your first events of display, and I bought the first item, the toque.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh my God, you were right here. Like you were in
Yes,
my house.
yes, exactly, exactly. So very much a part of your beginnings there. And then here you are. I mean, I've been watching that progress. The art that's coming out of you, which when people look at the show page can see 10 pieces of your art there as an example. The clothing, the fashion events, Kimberly Butler being a part of it, and the photography. Just like when you started this, and a lot of time artists don't think of where I can take it, especially not at your age. Again, mum's the wind behind your wings there, so that definitely helped pulling you forward. But did you expect to have the kind of reaction that you have had and where you've had it?
Yeah, I don't think I expected something like this, but we always work hard to keep going to the next step, and small plan by plan, like what's the next goal, and it helps us continue to go forward, and especially now, like being part of like the Emmys and Oscars, and then even doing shows here in Vancouver, people start to recognize, oh, I've seen this brand before. Oh, I've seen this, or sometimes like on the street, I'll just see people like wearing it. So that's like a super cool feeling because then it's like, wow, like people actually know us now. And
Mm,
it's before I was like just planning about like what we're gonna do and what we're gonna design and all that stuff. But now seeing people wearing it and actually enjoying it, and like it's like, oh, some guy came up, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get that right now. Yeah, I just love the art, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool just to have that like feeling. And this year, in the summertime, we did this show in Vancouver, and it was an outdoor event, and we had our booth, and we just dropped a whole bunch of new line. And this guy, which is like I'd say like an hour away, came down in the morning, waited in lineup just because he wanted to get something from us. And I was like, oh, that was
Hmm.
really like that was awesome to
Gone out of
hear
their
that.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was such a surreal moment. It made me feel like, oh wow, like it made me feel like wow, we actually like have something here.
You're
And people
making an
enjoy it.
impact, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it felt like for sure.
When you were at the Oscars, were people surprised at your age? Were they surprised at your entrepreneurship at this age?
Yeah, I got like quite a couple different responses. I got like, wow, you're so young. Um, wow, how'd you do this? But then I got a lot of people, more like Canadian actors who would be like, oh, you're this, oh, and you're from Canada. Like, I remember this lady gave me like this massive hug, like maybe for like it felt like 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, I'm so happy you're from Canada. It was just like so funny, like how that worked. But yeah, no, a lot of people were surprised at the age and the work I was doing, and they really liked the new line that we're working with. They changed it to Remark, but they really loved that whole new line.
You see, your mum's been in the business a long time and she's inspiring all ages, but especially kind of the middle age on, because we're women that have kind of come into our own and what we really want to do. And now it's showcasing that. You're representing a different demographic. You're showing young people they don't have to get older to be
Mhm.
successful. They can be successful with focus, due diligence, passion, commitment, and the ability to pivot and adjust, because that I think it makes or breaks many entrepreneurs, is whether they're able to pivot and adjust or seize an opportunity, or something collapses, being able to go in a different direction to pick it up or drop it altogether. So it's for young people are looking at you going, okay, this is possible. If I have a dream, if I have a passion, what do I need to do to get there? And so
Mhm.
you've become that example now. You're kind of a little poster child for
Oh.
you can do it at any age.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully they see me as that way. Definitely, definitely I've wanted to do this since I was a kid. And since I was a little kid to then we started at 15 and learning how to make shoes in LA and doing all the processes you take of, making a plan and learning how to make clothes to releasing stuff at 19 and actually our first line, and then now about to be 22. So it takes a long time, though. It definitely takes years in the making to build that up and continue with it as well.
I think one of the important things is that you started off as a passion project,
Yeah.
right? And then now it's become an industry. How are you keeping your passion for your art alive?
Well, there's a whole bunch of ways that I keep it alive. One of them was working with this new reality show coming out. They changed it to Remarked, but her show is about people getting tattoos for trauma-based reasons, and so she asked me to make 12 designs for each episode.
Mm-hmm.
So that kept me like a year busy for that, to make sure they have like the good representation, and then there's also like it looks like a good piece of art. It could be like a tattoo as example. And then always making something new is really fun, and working on new projects where you have to design and draw, and then sometimes learning new animals, like a lot of the mythology is quite cool because then you get to like get inspired by that and then draw a whole scene. Like right now, I this is like this myth called like the Namazu, and then like I'm drawing like the whole scene. It's like a Japanese catfish, and so having those like interests definitely keeps me busy and keeps me going and creating new things that we could also use.
Why the Japanese influence?
Well, ever since I was a kid, it's always been my favorite, and it was something that me and my dad used to talk about a lot was the Japanese art, and we always personally loved it, and we always talk about it like, oh, what are you gonna get in the future? Like, what are you gonna what sleeve are you gonna get? And now, like, almost finishing up my sleeve. So that was something that we've just always had this common interest in, and then I wanted to try and I draw it on paper, and then I learned how to make it on canvas, and then trying out painting and then kind of building off there. It was just something I've always been personally passionate about.
Do you have find there's, a lot of people are maybe confused about this. Maybe they expect to meet a Japanese artist, and here they are as this, you know, white
Yeah.
Canadian boy who's very influenced by Japanese art. Do you ever have people say, but why?
Yeah, for sure. And we had that the other day ago, but I just told him kind of like that story where it was something that I just personally was always interested in, something I personally always loved since I was young, and um, you know, doing it with my dad and talking about it and um, looking at art in that way. So, and then they were like, "Oh, okay, like that makes sense. Like, it's just something that you're passionate about, something that you just personally enjoy." So yeah, that's kind of what I usually say to them, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Maybe you're channeling a Japanese
Yeah,
spirit, right?
yeah,
For you, Mum, like you've here you are balancing the TV shows and the book and everything else that you are doing, and you've got a wonderful day minder, and all the other programs that you put on. I
Mhm.
still don't know when you sleep or eat or just even take a breath because you're always out there. Sometimes you do exhaust me because you're doing so much.
Yeah.
But here you are, have also been helping to manage, Ocean's platform as well. Is where Ocean is now, was that a surprise for you, or was it by design, or has it kind of like proven to be, oh, this has kind of taken off even better than I thought?
Well, yes, I eat and yes, I sleep. And people go, "Oh my gosh, you never." I sleep really well. You can
Mm,
imagine.
mm,
When I go to bed, I watch comedy for at least a half an hour every single night.
mhm.
And then I crash and I wake up and I'm like, what are we doing today? When people go, "How do you do what you do?" I'm like, I'm a top performance trainer and God made
Mhm.
me this way. So,
Exactly. Yeah, you got
this
that
is
everybody
what I'm supposed
belly.
to do.
Right.
Next lifestyle. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm hanging out in Japan with Ocean. I don't know. But the so yes, it's a full world. It's a full world. We use the word abundant.
Mhm.
I think the fact that I am mission based, so I'm aware that there's an end result that's going to make an impact, as you say, in the work that I do. So that helps keep you
Mhm.
going. I also know that when I decided to become an entrepreneur and go through the world of personal development, I think entrepreneurship is personal development with a product. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you can get through being an entrepreneur for 10 years, you've changed who you are on the inside, because
Yes.
you're going to come up against yourself and that look in the mirror, and you've got to be able to, handle all of that. So I think that that's very much, it's made me a different person. For me, it was really important that I set out to have a different life
Mhm.
than maybe the one that I had originally. So I wanted my kid to have different options, different ways. I wanted us to be able to just live differently. So that was a big deal. In terms of, did I expect Ocean's business to be where it is? Um, you're talking to someone who does business plans for a living.
Right.
So
Mhm.
we did map it out. Now I'll tell you, I'm fortunate me and Ocean have the same mindset around
Mhm.
one thing, because when I'm working with people, I'll be like, okay, what's your goal? Mostly financial, right? And
Mhm.
there's two types of people. There's the kind of people that if they hit where they want to be, yay. If
Mhm.
they don't hit where they want to be, they collapse a little. So I'm like,
Yeah.
who are you? Like when
Mm.
Ocean told me what he wanted to make his first year, he sat me down on the couch and I'm like, what do you want to make your first year? And he's like, I want to make $1 million. I forced myself to go like this because the chances of that happening, I knew were, but I'm like, okay, he's like a me. You'll
Yes.
shoot
Aim
high.
high.
If
Yeah.
you don't hit high, you're not
Mm.
going to collapse. It was
Right.
really important to know that. So knowing that, we make adjustments and plans and have meetings, and we do that. So we were on track with some things and not on track with other things. What we realized in this year was, like, when we sat down and said, what was some of the lessons? What we realized is that people, because of the quality, because he's a fashion designer, this is
Mm.
not merch he threw a piece of art on and you sell
Right.
it for $20 online.
Yes.
Right. So he's in a different category. So the
Mm.
marketing had
Mm.
to shift to that.
Mm.
Ocean, when he's on a trade show floor and people walk up, they feel the shirt, it's like done. The
Yeah.
sale's done. But it was like, how do we transpire that to internet? So here's the interesting thing. People would say He's 21, turning 22. He probably rocks online and it's more difficult offline. It's the opposite. When right now, when he's offline and at a show, particularly tattoo show, they respect art, they respect quality. The Japanese show he was just at, they respect art, they respect quality. And so they have an appreciation in a different way. It's not a t-shirt that they're gonna like,
Yeah.
So there's things that we're learning and have learned. But we can definitely see a progression. He loves to collaborate. When you were talking like what keeps you inspired, and he's collaborated with Nadia Dars, she does Xbox and Netflix, and he's done 2 collaborations with local 2 top tattoo artists. And he just did one with a tattoo artist in Toronto. They made 15 pairs of shorts each. You might have seen them posted. And we went and took him to the show, and he completely sold everything out but the small. We're like, well,
there's only like 3 small left.
Yeah, we're like, well, that's not the size to order next time. I mean,
yes,
it costs money and time to learn these lessons. Unfortunately, he doesn't sell digital products. So that as a mom can get daunting for sure. I mean, on truth to truth, it's like, I'm like, okay, this is what we can afford. You know what I mean? Or this is what we can afford. There's a lot of risk when you have a product-based company where you have to have the product beforehand, because he's not a big conglomerate. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's been a lot of financial jumping in and seeing what it is, and that's kind of so that's the dance for me. It's the dance. If I'm going to mentor anyone, I'd love to mentor my own child, absolutely. But where he's at in his business requires me to do more in mine. So that's so I'm not going to say my days are 4 hours by any sense.
No.
But the cool thing is, Sarah, I will tell you something that makes my heart sing. And I think any momager or dadager out there will agree with me. The moments you start to see that what you've been doing is starting to be able, he can handle on his own. So I went to every trade show. Now this last weekend, I couldn't be there both days full. Now he wasn't by himself, but he rocked it. They were doing scales before I showed up. And I think there's still more to learn, but he's starting to be able to do things without me or the need of me. And that's a beautiful thing, because, eventually this is going to be all him.
He's a very different guy to the first show that we did, right? Where you were kind of like coming up out of the waters, like eyes peeking, and now you're full presence, which is good. And like any artist, we talked about actors and or ink masters or an artist themselves. It takes a lot of this overnight sensation. There is no such thing. The thing is, I've been working so many years at it, but I think that a lot of people do an online presence and it becomes a fad and fades. When it's something that's actually built literally from the ground up, where people can see, touch, speak, it becomes a different form. And it is art that you are selling. You're selling art in clothing. But it becomes something that where, people go to art galleries to actually see the picture as opposed to seeing it posted online. Right. And, people want that real connection, that real feeling and what they get from it. And I think that it's just keep riding this wave, because more and more people will invite you to various expos or various events or various this or that to build it. You again young, you don't have to hit that million right now. In fact, actually not hitting it is better, because you just show how much work that actually goes into doing that and the appreciation of where you go at each level. But I think actually for some people, they rely too much online. And there is nothing better than the in-person of actually seeing somebody. Why do you do this art? Tell me about your art, feeling the texture, wearing the story, not just the art piece, wearing the story. And I think then somebody sees them in it, they start talking about it, and then they can order online. Right. So, and I think that kind of word of mouth, that I really like the way it feels. I love the message. There's a story behind it, because we've talked about this before, Deb, and I've talked about it with many entrepreneurs, and I've interviewed about 50 people from the book. And, in business, it is storytelling. Right. Nobody wants the pitch. Nobody wants the rah-rah. Nobody wants the flash. They want the storytelling. How can you have somebody feel that they relate, that they feel seen, heard, invited in? And when you've got something like art, why this art, or this art makes me feel like this, now I can actually wear it. And I actually like the way it feels on me. I'm more
Mhm.
willing to want to share the story.
Well, it's so incredible because when people come, of course, these 12 TV thumbnails have all sorts of meaning, and then people love it. And I even say to them, they're like, "Oh, I love that one." I go, "Do you want me to tell you what it means for the show or not?" Because
Mm,
you love it for a certain reason, right? This is
yes,
recovery from trauma based,
right.
and some people do and some people don't. But Ocean, like you see people, well, even this weekend, there was people that were there in the summer that came back to see him, and I
Mm,
think that whenever you have a connection or you are in a connectivity kind of business like we are, like Ocean is, people want to know, they want to meet, they want to have an experience. And it's also really great, I think, when you're the producer of something, right? So
yeah,
Ocean's a producer, to see that expression on people's faces and to have that, we all want time with the artist, we all want
yes.
time with the writer, we all want time with the TV host or whatever, and it is an exchange of appreciation. And I
Hmm.
think that's important.
I think quite honestly, it doesn't matter what line of business you're in. If there isn't gratitude and appreciation, you're at it for the wrong reason. We
Hmm.
do have people that are in it for the money and for the ego, and it's short-lived. They'll burn out at some point, or they'll become
Hmm.
yesterday's news. When people truly actually feel the connection and they really feel why you're doing it, my shows are why shows.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? Whom does it serve, and how does it serve them?
Yeah.
And people want to know, but why are you so interested in this?
Yeah.
And when people share the story of maybe their pivot, their redirection into doing what they're doing, they can hear the conviction and the passion behind it, then
Hmm.
people become more engaged with it. And I think that we're looking at, yes, there'll always be an online presence. It's going to grow even more. But at the same time, we still need to have that personalization
Hmm.
in that, especially when it comes to art, right? But obviously, you've got a TV station now, which
I
obviously isn't, on in person. But I think a lot of people need to understand that whether you're watching something on your phone or on your computer or on your tablet and you're listening to a show, it's not about what you're seeing, it's how you're feeling. It's the energy exchange that you get from it.
hmm
Right? It's not like you're selling a piece of clothing, you're selling some wisdom.
hmm
And that wisdom, how does it make you feel? And you can have a connection whether it's online or not. So you're in a different realm there.
Yeah, I am, with the women's channel, and then Ocean, ironically, at the same time. So I'm launching the women's channel, and then Ocean is doing his story, and he's starting a YouTube channel. This is
Mm,
one of the things that, so as you progress and get more comfortable, I mean, Sarah, you've
yes.
seen the difference between Ocean on his first show, and to
Yes.
now where he holds his own and has conversation. So now he's at a place where he can start to tell people what that experience has been like. So he's going on to
Organically
YouTube.
comfortable.
Well, and
Mm,
he went back to the beginning of time. We shot like
mm,
66, 90-second videos, and he's
mm.
going to, and it's showing on his YouTube how he became what he did. Because, like you
Right.
said, people want to know that story
Yeah.
and that relatability. With us, it's a little bit different in terms of I consider us positive infotainment.
Yes.
Much like
Yes.
so people containment, so their brain can just relax a little bit.
Hmm.
We're not teaching you a workshop,
Hmm.
but it's reality in the sense of it's real people doing real
Hmm.
things,
Hmm.
and it's a real offering. It's kind of a, here's this world. Who thought that
Yeah.
women could have their own TV shows, like really truly
Yes.
talk about what they want to talk about? There's little censorship. I mean, there's a bit, right? Little
Yeah.
censorship. There's professionalism expected. There's, we're streaming to like 900 million. I mean, who
Yes.
in my 2 years, 3 years ago, no, 3 years
Hmm.
ago, not the conversation that we were having.
No.
And so these opportunities and the creation of, and like you said, what are people going to hear? What are they going to see? What is it
Mm.
they want to know?
Hmm.
And letting each woman shine in her own arena,
Yes.
and interviewing, and that being a major part of their business whole marketing plan. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
The invitation again, because of
yeah,
the inspiration, right?
hmm
It always boils
yeah,
down to that, because when people are inspired, they're invited. And, when you share a story of somebody, they, discovered their courage, their strength, their ability, and they're sharing that in a way to pass it on, to
hmm
forward it.
Mhm.
You know, people want to feel that they're inspired, either it's relatable or it's inspirational to think in a totally different realm way than they've ever
Mhm.
thought before. And you know, I've known you for some time. I don't think TV station was actually on the list, you know, a few years
Well,
ago.
when we started the summit, I remember Angel saying to me, "Shut up." Because I would say to women, okay, you're going to speak and you're going to be on TV. And Angel's like, you know, you don't have a channel yet, right? I'm like, this whole project's been the Noah's Ark project. You know,
Right.
build it and they will
Yes.
come. And I think that's some of the
Yes. Yes.
philosophy that me and Ocean have done. It's like,
Yes.
okay, well, let's see if they like this, you know,
Yeah.
like build it and they will come. Oh, they like the shorts. That's cool. So we build it and they will come. And then the opportunity came for me to start talking TV. And then that was a really big process for me. There was a lot of learns and lessons in that whole
Mm.
TV. And then we ended up at the right home with the right people. And
Exactly. That's the important thing, isn't it?
yeah,
The
and
right
then
people. Mhm.
and so now here we go. And we just got some great new news today. So it's a process. It doesn't happen like Ocean talked about, you know, his process
Yeah.
from here to there. We go through the same thing. We might have a couple extra zeros attached to some of the projects that we do, but it's still risk. It's still all in. It's still
Hmm.
your time. It's still your energy. It's still your money. It's still your, you know, your name, your reputation, whatever it is that's
Still
has
your
value
baby.
attached, you know. But we started talking about it. Yes, I will 100%. We started talking about it and telling people they would be on TV before I had a TV channel. After a few years of entrepreneurship and a lot of faith in yourself, you can do that.
Exactly. And of course, if anybody, you've got the last summit this week, so this shows out next week, so they won't be hearing a bit, you know, being on those summits, listening to those women, and they, you know, those are women I've reached out, so I've got to interview you. We need an expansion of the story because they're sharing something so absolutely pivotally moving,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so connective. And that, you know, for me is wanting to then obviously expand on their story. But that's what they're doing now on your TV station.
Mm-hmm.
They have shared, you know, the summary of
Mm-hmm.
and who and what and
Yeah.
why. And now it's now the expansion of that and where else it can go on the TV station.
Yeah. Well, now many of the authors or many of the speakers have their own show, bringing in
Yes.
their own guests, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
cool, when I think about it, I was like, I don't want to forget to say that, you know, Ocean was talking about doing some collaborations. He's done 3 book covers this year, and he's actually
Mm.
designing mine right now for a book that
Is
I'm
this a
releasing.
memoir?
No, oh God,
Oh.
no, that one's going to be hashtag God pick on somebody else. And that's going to be, that's really the title of it. And Ocean's doing, you know, I do a lot around business support. So it's basically how to rock your trade show like a rock star because,
Mm.
right. And so he's actually working on an album and an album cover because we
Mm.
really, he wants to do an album cover, but he did the cover to our book.
Yes, of course.
Like the
Would you
cover
show
to
the
our
book?
book is his Freedom Woman t-shirt.
Actually, I've got
And
the book
that
right here.
came about in a really interesting way, Sarah, because
Mhm.
we already had the cover to the book.
Right.
And then I happened to be resourcing and researching one night for a complimentary product. And I saw the picture that we were going to
Mm.
use on the cover of the book on something else. And I was like, oh, I thought we bought that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I thought our team had bought that. Apparently not. And it was
Mm.
being used in something else. And I contacted him in a panic saying,
Mm.
we're going to print. I need the picture of and the Freedom Woman, but what a better name. And he
Yes.
was like, I'm not sure. I'm like, I'll pay you. Like, trust me, I have a good feeling this is going to be good for you. And honestly, it has been
Mm.
fantastic for both of us, right? Being
Yeah.
able to then extend multi-generational, but him being on the cover of that book brought in a whole, I mean, his first demographic of people supporting were, you know, our
Yes,
demographic.
exactly. And then it encompasses all women of all age, you know, because
Mm-hmm,
it's an outline and it's not a definition. So it is
mm-hmm,
just the definition of women in general.
mm-hmm,
Um, you know, when we see people have success and we see people, you know, that have worked hard and you see how things are blossoming, a lot of people then step into assumption, oh, they've made it. And the thing is about anything in business is that you can celebrate the moments. You can celebrate, you know, things that happen along the way. But don't get too cocky, don't get too comfortable, because now there's the next phase. And in order to sustain where you're at, It's you have to capitalize on that and grow. Do you find that there's a lot of people that kind of rest on their laurels and don't look at this as, well, this is you've reached this height, but in order to sustain this height or go further, now you have to take different action?
Well, they to end up calling once they, I think that it's a bit surprising. It'd be interesting to hear what Ocean has to say about that because I think a lot of the things that are happening for him are unexpected. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't, and for him being in business for 2 years, if he was to stop where he is now,
Hmm.
you in that early stage, you're not even really able to.
No.
The truth is you're not able to. I mean, he's had and yeah, he revenue generates and he can stay here if he wants to, but there's still something thirsty from the
Yeah.
original, quench. Like I want my books. I mean, he can talk about the store that he wants and it's on the agenda for this year, right? It's on the
Oh,
agenda. And
Dave.
right, he can talk about that.
Mhm.
But for me, when you do get to a place in your business, sometimes you can go, this is exactly where I wanted to be, and you have the choice to stay.
Yeah.
I think if you're a creative, like that's where for me, people like, oh, you're always, adding something or
Mm.
what have you. I go, you have to understand, I'm a creative that has chosen business as my canvas.
Yes. Yes.
Asking me to stay here would be more painful than the pain of growth
Mm.
because that's how my brain works. But I think that when people get to a certain level, it might be a little surprising when they want to break that ceiling, whatever it is. Usually it's from 6 to 7 or 6 to multi 6, or they usually talk about it in financial terms. Um, they're like, wow, that next level is going to take a little bit more than I thought. Because you just
Yeah.
think it's going to keep flowing in. And then you realize, oh, now I need to hire this person to be able to handle the growth. And there's growing stages.
Just like farming. You
It's like
plant
farming.
seeds, you've got to wait for it to grow. You can
Yeah.
harvest it, but if you don't plant more seeds, there's no harvest next year. So,
Yeah.
you just got to keep, celebrate those that are, come
Mhm.
into flourishment, but plant the seeds so that there is more expansion next year and more growth. Otherwise, you ain't going to have it. You're going to be yesterday's news, not today or tomorrow's news. So, Ocean,
Yeah.
tell me about this book.
The book that I'm working with mom.
Or the book that Mum was talking about just
Oh
now.
yeah. The book is, well, I'm designing it'll be like the cover again, but it also be a record label. So
Oh.
it will be a actual record, and I've had a couple ideas so far with it. Mom and I are going back and forth on the finished one because I say I made some pretty cool looking ones. I say pretty unique kind of style, but it's very my style.
Hmm.
So I'm working on another one right now, and it's gonna. I don't want to give it away without giving it away, but it will showcase my style in it as well. So
Mm.
if you see my stuff, then you might know some part of it is coming. But it turned out pretty cool.
Great. And again, another door openers for you as well,
Hmm.
because now people sees that art and it's like, hmm, I'm actually a pop star. I'd like an album cover that's different, or, I need something for a book cover that it isn't, Google or generic.
Mhm.
It opens other doors. And I think that's something very, very important to business, isn't it? You may not always look for clients over there, but suddenly they're the ones coming to you. And it's like, oh, don't go on. No, I don't do that. It's like, how
Hmm.
can I do that? Because this has been the opportunity that's been presented. And how can you pivot without losing yourself in the direction that you want to go in? But this is an expansion, it's another branch that can grow. So,
Yeah.
seize the day, so to speak.
Yeah, there's been a lot of unique requests over the years. I've done some other stuff that was not technically my style, really. So I've also expanded outside of the usual of mine. And I've had some interesting requests. I had somebody who wanted me to paint their gym, and I'm like, oh, where's your gym? And he's like, oh, it's in Africa. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I don't how am I gonna get there, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's always unique to see what comes up, and we had an event with, I don't know if I could say it really, but with
Yeah.
the L'Occitane one. we had that event this year. Actually, it was this year, yeah. And
Yes.
we did a whole bunch of stuff with that actually. And that's one of the ones where I wasn't really used to their style per se. So that was definitely out of the books for me as well. But no, that's pretty cool
Yes.
and working on new stuff and
I actually
yeah.
like watching these dress designing shows, and they have their own aesthetic, and they get given different challenges, and then they have to design for a particular client. And it's always like, how do you design for what the client wants without losing your aesthetic? And that
Mhm.
is the challenge, right? And that comes through experience. That comes from what is your boundary. I'm not going to step outside of that. This will always be the foundation of my art. Um, but you incorporate, the creation that they see as well. And it's trying to find that happy medium. And that's trial and tribulation, isn't it? It's experience of going in there or that design without losing yourself. They've obviously come to you for a reason. So
Yeah.
it's like, how do you keep yours, but incorporate their vision as well?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we had an event recently at a studio, and people wanted I have a whole bunch of like first canvases I've done like in the past, and they're like of anime characters, and how many people asked me to buy it was a lot. So or like they asked me, "Oh, do you do custom commission?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can make some. We just got
Yeah.
to talk about it."
Well, like, one of your fortes is you're not just clothing, you're
Yeah.
not just art. The art can go anywhere, right? As long as
Mm,
it's obviously
Mhm.
within the aesthetics and also the integrity
yeah.
that you want to keep. So whether it's an album or a book or a design for something else, it's your design and it can go anywhere as long as it's within your parameters. So, again, you're not restricting yourself just to a clothing line, which is really great.
Yeah. No, no, exactly. I think that's
It's
what I
exciting,
wanted.
Emma.
It is, and it's interesting. So when you look at kind of where it started, when it first started in Ocean's, when you look at his first line, because Ocean worked at a gym,
Hmm.
we thought that that was going to lean into more of his clientele. Not that
Sportswear.
people don't wear his things at gym, right? At the gym, and then he did some more anime like the samurai and all of that kind
Mm.
of stuff. And then this tattoo thing. We, in our first year projection, never had, I'll tell you, we never had a tattoo trade show listed there.
Right.
Um, we didn't think that. We didn't even have Japan trade show listed on there. It was more like Portobello West or,
Mm-hmm.
community. And then it was due to this decision that we're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, let's try this show. And then, wow, that was a really big, like he has a huge market and name in that sector now, tattoos, which that was not on our first year business plan.
No, what a great
And
opportunity, though.
yeah,
Mm.
and he wants to do a retail store. And so
Yeah.
now this, we don't call it the studio anymore. It's a store and it's open 3 days a week. And we go there whether people show up or not. Whether they show up or not, we're there.
Yes.
And that's a big part of
Yeah.
being ready for the store, being ready
Yeah.
for when I'm sure when the first person shows up that wasn't quote unquote invited, we're going to be like, oh, we're not ready for you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you got the store ready, and then that'll be the first step to the next, design of store that he wants to do. And that all takes.
It all takes planning. And of course, you'll open up with a certain expectation, and somebody comes in and asks for something else. And it's never saying, I'm not ready. It's saying, we're in process.
Mhm.
But what is it that you need? And, take name and number. We'll call you back and help you with
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
that's the thing is never close the door. Right? It's I
Mm,
can't open this door at the present moment. I've got these projects on, but I'd like to take all the details and open that door down the way. And it's again, somebody comes to you, your daughter has a clothing line for children, right? And who's to say there can't be a cross-pollination of the art there as well? So
Yeah.
that's the whole works, isn't it? It's the being flexible and being adaptable and like allowing the clientele to say, I would like it here and
Hmm.
and going with it. So your store isn't going to be just kind of like the clothes and the art. It's going to be, yes, I would say a great deal more of the custom work that people are going to have. But at least they can come in, touch, see, touch, and speak with you about it, which is really, really important.
I think that was the biggest thing this year that Ocean probably experienced from an external standpoint was he had his first runway.
Yeah.
He coutured 5 pieces, which means like, cut. So the whole thing, like he had that done. And then watching him, so go like, I'm like, okay, come out from behind, stand in the front and watch this fashion show happen.
Mm.
I don't know, Sean, what was that like?
Yeah, that was definitely something. That was a pretty cool event. That was a good day as well. That was pretty,
Mhm.
yeah, that was something we'll
A
for
lot
sure
of
do another
pride,
time.
a lot of
Yeah.
pride, right? It's not ego, it's pride. Look at what I've accomplished. And
Hmm.
we must take stock of what we've accomplished along the line. There's no ego involved in it. It's more to do with pride. I've accomplished that because I put in the work, I put in the vision, I committed to it, and this is the result. And you can take pride in that. So it's always good to have those pauses to
Yeah.
take pride in what you're accomplishing along the way.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was a pretty magical moment for both of us to see
Hmm.
people in his clothes
Yes.
wearing it on the runway, him in his own clothes on the runway. He made my outfit that night for the
Mhm.
runway. And it was a great, I think, trial experience for when that bigger runway comes along. And that's what it's about, right? Just
Now, I mean, I can see, simple, beautiful little dresses with the art on it,
mhm,
like the fish coming up the front or something on the back, not limiting just, t-shirts or hoodies or anything else, but
mhm,
incorporating the women, the young women, something that's like the teenagers are going to love, something that, more
mhm.
mature women will love. I mean, this is the thing. There is no limitation as to where
Mhm.
and what it can do.
Yeah.
So that's the excitement. So storefront for 2026.
Yeah.
Storefront for 2026. We have, people can come to his store now, but like that whole and Ocean, I know that he's got some secret things that he wants to actually have in his store when it's done. Um, so that's pretty cool and other things to so yeah, it's all about what can happen and the speed of what happens is, for him, sometimes it gets a little bottlenecked because I'm over here, we're still doing this together. The funding has to come in. Sarah, you're
Yes.
very familiar with funding.
Yeah.
All the ideas to be able to do all the ideas we want this year, we would definitely need to bring in some funky, cool person that loves from an investment standpoint
Exactly.
because that's the
The
injection.
mentor
Yeah,
with purse.
a mentor with purse. There you go. We're gonna put that on. We have a big whiteboard here. We're gonna put mentor with purse. Mentor
And
with
of course,
wallet and purse. Yeah.
and wallet and purse, yeah, exactly. And the thing is about having a store, because I've had one before, and my mum had one that's way back. Is yes, you've got the art, yes, you've got the pieces, but it's a different hat as a storekeeper now,
Mm-hmm.
right? The it costs,
Mhm.
the books, this and that. But it is a different hat how you meet your clientele and what do you do when you have a few of them in, and where's the security? Blah, 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 blah. There's a lot to it. So, it's a good idea to actually go and talk to people that have small shop fronts right now and say, what tips can you give me? What do I need to look out for? And go in there prepared instead of having to learn it through hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
So, go and talk to the people that are already doing it, because having had a storefront and mum's had a business like that as well, there's a lot of those other things, the nitty gritty things that aren't necessarily sexy, but if you don't have them in place, it
Mm-hmm.
can cause an awful lot of chaos. Now I know that you have to dive off, Ocean, so can
Yeah.
you give people your site, where people can get hold of you? Can you also spell it out for the audience as well, please, love?
Yeah, so if you follow us on Natsukashi Inc., and then Natsukashi is spelled by Natsukashii. That's Natsukashi, and then Inc. World. That's our website, and then it'd be Natsukashi Inc. underscore NII for the website, and then we have a link in the bio, and that will take you to all the every link to the website, Patreon, TikTok. Now we have a TikTok shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we are having a YouTube channel, so it should be there as well. And then any of the posts, if you like, oh, I like that, the shorts, for example, we have it tagged, so you can just look at the tags and take you straight to the actual site as well.
Excellent.
So try to make it as simple as possible.
And of course, if you have requests, if
Yeah.
you see something, I'd like to see it on this, or I'd like to see it on that, or can you do the custom? This is the thing. If you're inspired by the art, don't be limited as to what it's on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
say, I request that it's be this, that, etc. You've got an awful lot of kind of sports teams that want to be very, very unique, right? And
Mm-hmm.
have a uniform with something very unique on it. How awesome would that be, right?
Yeah.
So, there's so many opportunities here, and it's just a question of being open to them. But make sure on your site that, and in your store,
Mm-hmm.
suggestions of what you would like to see.
Yeah.
Because some ideas will be way out there and some ideas will be and other ideas will be just right. So I'm going to let you go, Ocean, because it's 1 minute to two and you need to dive off. And it's
Yeah.
great to see you again.
Great to see you
Wonderful
too.
to see you again. And bravo. I don't get over to Vancouver as much as I should, but I will be over there in November. So hopefully I can connect with you guys. Not November, February. We're already past November, aren't we? um, and folks, let's just face it, Christmas is upon us. And
Mhm.
whatever clothes you've got, hoodies, you've got t-shirts, you've got the shorts. What else have you got?
Our art wall, so that we got like prints. We do prints. There's a custom page. There's a collaboration page. We did socks, and then we're gonna be
Tukes.
releasing more socks, toques, keychains, stickers. Yeah, everything like that. So everything.
Perfect gift for Christmas when you want to buy them something different that doesn't come from Amazon, right?
Mhm.
So this is something kind of custom. And of course, if you're not in Canada and you want it sent out to you in the States or anywhere else, get onto it now.
Yeah.
But perfect gift to give that's going to start a conversation, that's going to make you feel great in it, and just going to be one of those special pieces in your wardrobe. So think Christmas, think birthdays, think gift. It's a perfect gift to give. So we'll let you go, Ocean. And
Awesome.
good luck, and we'll see you later, hon.
See you later. Thank you.
Well, Mom, gosh, look how far he has come.
Wow,
Right?
right?
Yes.
It's interesting the maturity that
Mm,
comes from sometimes being up against it, like
yeah.
you're at a trade show, he's tired. I'm like, okay, go for a walk and come back.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of forced learning at this stage.
Yes.
It's a lot of forced learning. It's a lot of fatigue because it's forced learning, right?
Mm,
You don't know what it's like to do 12-hour days on a show floor
mm.
and talking. I mean,
Yes.
Ocean is not that person. He's not a social butterfly. He's the
He's
cool,
a
calm,
lot more
quiet
comfortable with it
conversation.
now, though,
Yeah.
compared to what it used to
But
be. Yes.
it still takes a lot, it
Yeah.
takes a lot
Yes.
to talk for 12 hours. And at a
Mm.
show, they want to see the artist. They want to get a signature. I can't tell you how many hoodies and t-shirts he literally signs.
Wonderful.
So it's that kind of,
Adjusting how
yeah,
to use your energy for that. And that can only
energy.
come from experience,
Yeah.
right? That is, you build up that resilience for that
Hmm.
as more and more experience that you have.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, is that he's willing to do it. He
Hmm.
wants to see his brand grow. He is passionate about it. And I think one of the big problems with a lot of people is they lose the passion because everything else becomes so daunting, they lose the passion. And the
Yeah.
thing is, always keep the passion alive, and then you're willing to do all the other things,
Yes.
right, to
Yeah.
support the passion. So it's always making sure the passion comes first, which he still very much has. And
Yeah.
exciting, a storefront. And as I said, I can see so many things,
Yeah.
sports team, certainly some wonderful looking summer dresses with a lot of that on it. Don't forget us women. Don't
Yeah.
forget the
Yeah.
bigger sizes, please.
Yeah. Oh, we're up to triple X,
Right. Excellent.
and everything is pretty unisex. I mean, I would say that his clients
Yes.
are pretty equal down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, non-binary can wear a dress as well. So, these days anything goes. So, all right. So,
Yeah.
so of course, now it's the TV station for you, which is now
Yeah.
growing and expanding. You have opportunities for people to become. Obviously, there has to be a
Yeah.
certain thing that they're doing in their work, but they can have a channel of their own. Can you tell us more about
Yeah.
that?
So we have the women's channel, and our channel is streaming off a network that streams Amazon, Apple, Roku, Google, all of that, Amazon Prime, and all of that. So they are the streaming. We are the channel.
Hmm.
We marketing, they marketing. So we
Hmm.
market the women's channel. We provide the audience. And so women that have, honestly, women that have a message, it's no different if you were an author or a speaker or a podcaster, or you just now want to move to a larger audience. It really is that simple. For women that want to revenue generate from their media, I personally haven't seen a revenue generation availability, and I know a lot of mediums, right? Whether it's radio, whether it's podcast, whether it's a book, whether it is, we know that a lot of times those pieces are heart-centered, and they are not necessarily the major revenue player, but they play as an asset to that brand that makes revenue. But a TV show is very different. So when you're a TV host, it's a different conversation.
Yes.
And when you are hosting and giving other people the availability to come onto your show and being able to tap into that size of audience and also use the media badges, it moves them up. And so you can, if you choose to, use your TV show as a revenue generating stream.
Exactly.
So 12 shows, you can do 1 a month, 2 a month, 3 a month, 4 a month. That conversation happens in where you're at, right? So that conversation is, what do you want your show to be about? And then everything that you don't know and do think to know is, we're going to go through that, and you get coached all the way through and never stop being coached. You're part of the Women's Channel family. And so your colors, your message, your messaging, what do you want your production to be? The colors, the opening, the message, like all of it. You know, do you want to get picked up by Netflix one day? Because if you do, this is how we need to do your show. This is how many minutes we need to do it, so that there's minutes left for them to put in commercials.
Right.
You can revenue generate. You can do your own show and not ever bring in a guest. No problem. You can do a show in a studio. You can do a show on StreamYard, Riverside, or Zoom. Obviously, we have different backgrounds and we make it look like a show, but you don't have to be any different. Or you can travel. I mean, when I do my show, Sarah, obviously it won't be this year because I'm helping other women do their show. But I know my show will be, I will be on set. You know what I mean? Like, so will it be on set, or I'll be in, I don't know, France at a little coffee shop talking to an author or whatever. And the cameras and the video all need to be there. So you can do whatever, you can go as big as you want to go. We have a studio here in Vancouver where, you know, video from floor to ceiling, you can have it all wrap around. I'm going to be going there and doing something for this rock star book that I'm doing with like a rock concert behind me. You can do, it's got an Oprah audience, it's got a grand piano on the screen. I mean, you can go as tight or as grand as you want to go. I'm suggesting women in their first year of TV stay at a very beta stage for the first while and then get super comfortable. But people will pay to come into your show. They'll pay to be on a sponsored show. So you can revenue generate through sponsorship, commercials, advertising. And I think the biggest boost to someone's business comes in the hidden money. And the hidden money, I mean by, for example, one of our authors whose show's in production posted out on their social what their background's going to look like. They had 2 people contact them, purchase their biggest package, no questions asked. Because you know, there's a vetting process that goes through being accepted onto a channel. So you have to be good in your craft. I mean, I'm not going to take that risk. Our network's not going to take that risk of having someone that's not ready to be there. And so that vetting process tells someone, right? And they're not negotiating with prices. Then they're not asking for things like payment plans and those kind of things, because they see that you've put the cart before the horse. You're there and you're doing it. So I think it's that kind of thing that happens. I think you sit and have different conversations with different people about different things. And having a TV show is it's a posture move. Posture move in all the right ways, not an ego-based posture move.
Right.
But it's like, I'm super confident. I love my sector. I may not know how to run a TV show. Who cares? You didn't know how to write your first book either. So you don't have to know the fundamentals, but you know, if you put something out that this is your work. And so that part in being able to, the posture of that is being able to really truly go one to many in a way that I think you can see the ROI quite quickly. Right. Which by nature, you know, the women that are coming onto our channel are self-funded. And you want to see an ROI as quick as possible. Right. So walk into a show, walk into a room, or walk into a networking group, or walk into an arena and say, I'd love for you to be on my show called Dun 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 Dun. And when someone says, where's your show scene? And you start to say that, there's a different conversation that happens.
And you know, the thing to be aware of if you commit to this is like a podcast is generally seen either on the phone or a tablet or computer.
Mm-hmm.
When you are doing it on this other, you are big on somebody's big, huge TV. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So there is some polish and some representation that you want to have that. You've got to know that there's an awful lot of people that we know that have tried to start a TV station.
Mm-hmm.
It takes money, it takes time, it takes effort, and they've fallen flat because the intent was there, but they didn't have enough knowledge behind it. Where
Mm-hmm.
you've gathered that knowledge behind it merely is by the people that you've interacted with, even around the book. Never
Yeah.
mind what you knew beforehand, but the expansion and the promotion around the book, which is a 5-year plan, by the way, folks, 4 more years to go. Um, and again, another great gift to have is a good coffee table one conversation. People can turn to one page and it's just a couple of pages of wisdom from somebody. So that really something that inspires conversation. But for all your expertise, you haven't gone in this completely green. Green probably of the process, but
Mm-hmm.
understanding what process and how to adapt to it and how you can serve your clientele with it is
Mm-hmm.
that you're already serving your clientele. You have through your books, you have through your other work. Now it's just putting them on TV. But
Yeah.
you know, people who are going to be on that TV, if you've got to understand, it's not about the glitz and glam. It is always about the content because it's
Mm-hmm.
the content that draws people back and the presentation of that content and
Exactly.
the commitment to it. You may not get the whole audience that you want, or, you know, I remember my first show that I ever did, I pressed all the wrong buttons, right? So, you know, you do want to start off slow if you're not. I mean, if you have a podcast that you've been doing for a long time and you know how to interview people, that's different. Now you're just adjusting to TV.
Yeah.
But if you've never done anything like that, that doesn't mean you can't. It's to start off slowly, gain your experience, gather your momentum, feel what your own style is. And then you
Mm-hmm.
start bringing on people that you can really honor and vice versa. But
Mm-hmm.
just be willing to try it because you never know if this is your next branch in your tree and
Yeah.
where it can take you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing now is that, there's community, right? Like now you don't have to find out all of that. I mean, when you have a community of people that are behind you and
Yeah.
that can, just like you told Ocean to go and talk to other store shop
Yes.
owners. So we're like, do this, do this,
Hmm.
do this. It's really great.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be difficult. And I think that that's a really important piece because
Yeah.
people see the word TV and they get a little flooded out in the
Yes.
prefrontal cortex. You're like, look, it's not as difficult as you think.
Hmm.
It's a bigger expansion, but um, it doesn't take a bigger form of learning. You're not learning longer words.
No.
It's like, and when
It's
people
just
realize,
a
they're
different
like,
structure.
yeah, they're like, oh, you're like, yeah, they're like, okay. And there's a method and
Yeah.
we do it and it's good. And there you are.
And, you know, quite honestly, let's face it, what we're seeing on TV from mainstream these days is so filtered. You know, the reason why podcasts are so popular is because people are hearing the truth. They're hearing
Mm-hmm.
honesty,
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability, you know,
Mm-hmm.
inspiration that they feel they can relate to because of those
Mm-hmm.
deeper conversations. All you're doing is taking that now, that has been a beautiful essence of podcasting and putting it and expanding it onto TV.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful.
And you
Beautiful.
know, that is kind of make mainstream kind of buck up a little bit. You know, what do people really want? And
Well,
then,
I always say people, have a conversation with us now. I had a
mhm,
woman talk today. She's like, okay, I'll be ready in April. I'm like, okay, I'll be ready in April. We know. I mean, I've been in business long enough to know we know in 5 to 8 years,
mhm,
you want to catch this new wave. You want to learn your
yes,
lessons like everybody else. You want to do your beta. In 5 to 8 years, you're going to see like it's going to be a whole new
mainstream.
ball game. A lot
Yeah,
of people will have TV shows, and
yes,
you want to be breaking that ground. You
yeah.
want to be breaking that ground, right?
Yeah, you want to be part of that original foundation
Of course.
that really builds up there.
Of course.
You know, like you've been podcasting for a long time. I've been doing it for over 13 and a half years. And it
Yeah,
says there's that certain amount of credibility of being in there kind of at the beginning or something, right? And
absolutely.
but they're willing to kind of grow and expand. And you know, there's an awful lot of people, as we know, you've had them on the summits, they're in the book. There are people that are now have their own TV channel there. They didn't just wake up one day and become successful or knowing or
Mhm.
anything else. It's
Mhm.
through the hard knocks of life, through those cosmic 2x4s that they've
Mhm.
had, the
Mhm.
things that they've learned, the strategies, the wisdom, the knowledge that they are now eager to share with everyone so that they
Mhm.
don't have to have the Grand Canyons,
Yeah.
right? So, the potholes, okay, you can get over those, but we just don't want you to have that cosmic 2x4. And that's the whole point of it is passing the wisdom on. And all
Mhm.
you're doing is giving another platform for that wisdom to be shared.
Yeah. Perfect.
Where
Absolutely.
is the book going next?
Oh, okay. Well, the book is going, we are in January, January 18th. We're waiting for confirmation. We will be in Langley, BC at Indigo Books.
Hmm.
From there, it's going to go to LA at the Oscars in
Again, lovely.
March. In April, we will be in Colorado. And
What's
as far,
happening in Colorado?
yeah, in Colorado, I'm going to be speaking on someone else's event. We're going to, once
Incorporate
we
the
get
book.
into January, we'll formulate something in Colorado because we'll be there. 262 Sisters will be there. We'll do something in Colorado, no idea. If someone wants to put their hand up and help, that's how it
Yeah,
works,
that's
right?
how it works.
That's
Yes.
how it works. We know we'll be back at the Emmys in September. Where we'll be between April and September, I don't know. But we do have a couple of things planned that we are formulating.
And
But
and
here's the deal.
invitations are
Anybody,
welcome,
yeah,
right?
like you know what? Anyone that says I've spoke
Yeah.
or I want you to come here, like that's how it's meant to be.
Yes.
That's how it's meant to be. So I'm not, I'll do Oscars and Emmys, no problem. And women are coming down for that, no problem. People can come with us to the red carpet event after we're on the gifting suite, no problem. Outside of that, it's other women making the call.
I started a new genre earlier this year. I call the Sisterhood of Common Sense Love, and all the men
Mhm.
love and support them. But the reason I started that is because I really do feel we're in the era of woman with
Mhm.
the common sense, with the passion and the conviction in how to change the system, how to change the environment, how to bring back the village. And we're needing that more and more. And the only way we're going to see that achieved is sisterhood coming together and supporting one another. We know we're the solution. Right.
Mhm.
And so it's
Mhm.
when one sister supports another sister in any way, all we do is in expanding that sisterhood
Mhm.
into not into hierarchy, because we believe in the circle and the arms
Yeah.
around each other, not
Mhm.
about, the climbing the ladder. It's
Mhm.
about how many people can be celebrating in this village,
Absolutely.
which is
Absolutely.
wonderful. Okay, well, of course,
Mhm.
people can go to your show page. If people go to the show page, they're going to see, Deb Drummond's link there to everything that she has done with me. And as I said, I think this might be the ninth show. It shows you how to get involved with being, joining the radio station, the TV station, where to find the TV station, all of the very many shows that I've done with her, the book, and how to get the book, how to have a speaker opportunity with her, and
Mhm.
everything else that's in there, because there's so much going on that it's really hard to keep up with this sometimes. But you can find out. I mean, there will be the more summits next year.
Oh, of course. Where the summits don't change. We have four summits. If women
Mm-hmm.
want to speak, they can speak on a panel.
Mm-hmm.
They can be a speaker shout out in between featured speakers, or they can be the featured speakers. So if women want to speak, no problem. In May, we're going to have two men's panels. It's going to be the women of
Mm,
inspiration, and men are going to talk about how women have inspired them. And I think it's time
wonderful.
for that, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
And so we always have four summits. If anyone has a we do book launches on our
Mm-hmm.
summits. We support a nonprofit on our summits. We do panels on our summits. This year we are going to add two additional summits because we've already, like, we're talking in December and March is 2/3 already full. So what's
Right.
happening is that we're getting so full. We're going to put a couple of extra that are outside of the International Women's Day theme.
Mm.
One's going to be all authors, everything to do with authors. So we'll definitely have a conversation. And then another one is going to be workshop based, where instead of
Mm.
listening, you're doing.
Right.
So those are yet to be solidified. But if you have, if you have a passion or a mission or a book or a project or a business and you want to talk about it, we're the place. If you want to, if you have a business but you want to talk about love or forgiveness or
Mm-hmm.
grace or, mompreneurship, I mean, it really is a united front of
Yeah.
basically creating a place where people can understand what solidarity is. So
It's wise inspiration. It's
Yeah.
the wisdom that has been accumulated through time and
Hmm.
experience. And,
Hmm.
as you said, it's not about, a pitching thing. It's about a sharing of why you wrote the book, what the book is about, what impact you want it to have on people. And that is that inspiration in itself, right? And it's always
Yeah.
about how to invite people, and inspiration invites people.
Yeah.
And as I said, the amount of people I've met through the summits that you've
Hmm.
done,
Hmm.
and the people that I've interviewed from the book, where we've extended that story, we've lost a couple of them.
Hmm.
Lipping well, unfortunately, which was so
Hmm.
sad because she was such an amazing woman. Um, it just shows us the legacy they leave behind, and where they're at and what they're sharing. Most of all, I think what it shows is that we've been underestimated for so long. And in this sisterhood now, we're showing just how much substance that we really do have, how we do
Hmm.
support each other, the wisdom that is collected in the book, the wisdom that is shared on the summits, the inspiration that is the invitation. It is absolutely awesome, and it will leave its mark.
Yeah.
It will leave you with something. You can't do these things without it leaving something for you, or
Yeah.
inspiring something within you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for letting me have another conversation on this great show.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Of course, if you go to the orchardofwisdom.org and go to the Mentors Practitioners Directory, you'll see Deb Drummond there and everything that she's done and everything that's going on and how you can sign up for all of it. But also,
Mhm.
give you a direct link as well, love.
Okay, well, you know what? Here's the thing. If you go to debdrummond.com, the website, all the social
Everything
media
is up
handles
there.
are there, but you can click on 262. You can see the book, you can see the planners, you can see the classes, you can come to the podcast, you can speak on the stage. You'll see the women's channel there. You can link through the women's channel. You put your email in, and you have access to 27 summits of 20 to 30 women speaking on every summit. So whether you want to inquire, whether you want to just enjoy, it's all in one place,
Right.
one big website.
And of course, you want to listen to the shows, you go over to the other, what I've done with Deb, because we've
Yeah,
done many of them.
absolutely.
And whether they were, current as far as events are concerned, there's always so much wisdom to get from Deb. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a lesson in being an entrepreneur. So listen
yeah,
to them, because there's always something you're going to get out with it. And
yeah.
it's Deb, and Drummond is DRUMMOND.com. And come and be a part of this. And that there's a woman or a man that needs
Hmm.
to learn from this, that wants to be inspired by this, and just have them listen to those summits, or listen to the podcast, because many of the people on your podcast are people from the summits as well.
Yeah.
And obviously tune into the TV station that is growing, and be inspired by the people that are already up there.
Hmm.
And if you have ever looked at entrepreneurship and thought it's not for me, it for some people it isn't, because they rather be, the follower. But for
Hmm.
some people,
Hmm.
I don't know if I can. And you never know until you try, right?
Hmm.
And if you listen to all these shows with Deb, and you listen to all the work that she's doing, her planner and everything else, she gives you the foundation, of the building blocks that you need to even start. And when you've got that,
Yeah.
you then take your own passion and you start applying. Remember, my shows are about listen, learn, and apply. So
All right, my friend.
thank you so much, Deb, and
You,
have a very Merry Christmas. So
you too. You too. We'll see you when you come across the water.
across the pond, yes, and we'll definitely connect again. And 2026, I have a feeling, is going to be a transcendent year, not just in business or for people, but I think overall. I think it's going to be an incredible year of change. And the more that change is out there, the more
Hmm.
stability it needs from the people like you, and the people that have the inspiration to bring about. So
Hmm.
2026 is the year, folks. So thanks so much,
Awesome.
Deb.
Okay. Bye, honey.
Until next time, folks. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there, and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.